Alright guys, so EMAX has finally come out with the Babyhawk 2 analog version. So I think it was maybe back in March of this year, probably like 6 months ago, the DJI version of the Babyhawk 2 came out. And at the time it was only the DJI version, no analog version, and a lot of people were up in arms and wondering what's up with that, why there's no analog version. And you know, honestly, I never really got a straight answer from EMAX about that, but my speculation, my theory is that they probably thought maybe people that mainly fly analog aren't really into bind and flies as much, so they wanted to go after the DJI market first, because most of the people that are new pilots that come into the DJI system are typically DJI customers, and they're mainly looking for bind and flies. Now, you may or may disagree with that or not. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm thinking that most people that are new to FPV, they're coming into the DJI FPV system as basically as their only system, they're mainly looking for bind and flies. So I think that's why they targeted them first, although most of the other companies are coming out with both versions at the same time, and took EMAX a while to come up with the analog version. If you guys have any theories as to why that happened the way it did, let me know. Now, EMAX was the first to come out with the 3.5-inch prop class, and since that time, in the last 6 months, we've obviously seen Diatone, GipRC, pretty much all these other companies. I think with a couple of exceptions, I think Flywoo doesn't have a 3.5-inch, and iFlight doesn't have a 3.5-inch yet. And I'm hearing that there's no plans for those yet, so maybe the 3.5-inch isn't really taking off as some people expected. We'll have to see. It's still kind of, there's so many new models coming out, and all these companies are still trying to figure out what they want to do with new products and stuff. Now, between the two models, the digital and the analog, they're virtually identical in terms of everything, like the motors and the specs. So the same 1404 motors, 3700 kV, the same 25 amp all-in-one flight controller board, the same frame and the same props, no differences there. Basic same construction. Obviously, the only difference is the FPV system. Analog on here, digital over here with the Vista, and the on this one, the one I have here has the Nebula Pro camera. Since I made that video, they no longer make this digital version with the Nebula Pro camera at this time because of lack of availability. They've actually switched over to the polar camera. So if you do get the digital version, you get the polar camera, which weighs, I think, a couple of grams more than Nebula Pro. The analog version comes with the RunCam Racer 5. This is just a standard 19mm micro camera. Nothing too special there. Made by RunCam. And then you have a very tiny video transmitter back there. It's a TBS Unify Pro 32 Nano. I think it's the version 1.1 that goes up to 400 milliwatts. Now, if you get this version and you want to unlock the VTX for certain channels and power, etc., you do have to go into the Betaflight OSD, go into the video transmitter section, and under config, you have to change the mode from race to free, and then that will unlock the VTX. There's a way to do it via the button, which is right over here, but it's next to impossible to figure out and to get it right. You have to go through a myriad of steps. If you look up the TBS Pro 32 Nano manual, they outline instructions how to do that. I've never been able to do it successfully via the button, so that's how difficult it is. So just do it via the Betaflight OSD using Smart Audio. It works pretty much every time. Just change the mode from race to free, and you'll be able to get all channels and all levels of power on the video transmitter. All right, so again, the components being different, you're going to have a different weight here. So 140.6 grams for the DJI version, and about 120 grams for the analog version. These both have these FreeSky D8 receivers in here, and you can see it right there. It's their standard tiny micro FreeSky D8 receiver. It's okay. You're not going to go super far with that, but you know, obviously you can get the plug and play version and put your own type of receiver in there, Crossfire, whatever. I think they do also sell a Crossfire version if you want Crossfire out of the box, but this is the receiver version that I got on mine. Now, like the digital version, the analog version comes with a much too large battery strap. They have not switched away from that. So you can see how large of a battery you can take on this or carry around. So if you want a really long flight time, you can put a giant battery in here, like an 1800 4S. You're going to probably have to use a XT60 to XT30 adapter. A lot of those really big batteries come with XT60s. Or you can, well, you can probably just switch the battery strap out, which is what I did. I actually pulled it out temporarily to fly a smaller battery, this 4650, which is what I originally flew on the digital version, so I wanted to get a sort of apples to apples comparison, so I flew it again on the smaller, lighter battery. I also flew it on the 850 as well. Basically, the only difference is a little bit heavier on the 850, and you get maybe a minute and a half more flight time, depending on how, you know, of course, conditions, how much wind there is, how you're flying, your flying style, etc. But yeah, you can get about 5 minutes of flight time on the 650. The flight times are about the same on both of these. There's really only about 20 grams of weight difference and other variables. So you're probably going to get a little bit more flight time on the analog version because it is a little bit lighter. But in terms of the flying performance characteristics, almost impossible to tell a difference. It really felt the same. To me, maybe a little bit more agility on the Aqua version. The PID tunes, I think, are identical the same. I don't think they changed the PID tunes between the analog and the DJI versions, but I may be mistaken on that one. I did check, it looked the same to me. Yeah, so anyway, overall, great flyer, just like the DJI version. Really no complaints about this. And yeah, if you've been waiting around for the analog version of this, yeah, it's now available. Yeah, I think a lot of these places are going to still be in pre-order, but yeah, I'll check the links down below, and some of them may actually be in stock by the time you watch this video. It really depends on when you're watching this video and when I release it. So at the time of the recording of this video, most of the places are still in pre-order, and you'll have to see how these like stores like Pirate Drone and Race Day Quads, they may get their inventory probably pretty soon here, so within a few days of the release of this video. Okay, so here's the flight footage. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Alright, so flying the same 4S 650 that I flew the DJI version, and I think this is the same spot. So this is a bit lighter, and I think they obviously have tuned this for a much heavier battery. Yeah, it doesn't sound really any different. It's super windy right now. You can probably see here. Let me show you some trees here. You can see the wind. It is a good solid 15 and 20 right now. Probably gonna get worse later today. But nice, you know, as usual, nice flying. As usual, pretty good tune for EMAX, but I think they're targeting a bigger battery for this one. I'd say even 850, maybe 1100 4S. And you could even go with even a lithium ion battery. Yeah, it's much lighter than the DJI version. You can see, woo! It's got a lot of pop. And it's not that noisy. I'm sure you can barely hear it over the wind. I have to bring it pretty close here. You see what happens on full throttle. So on the 650 Forest on the DJI version, I got like 5 minutes, I think. I'm expecting about that much. This is a Runcam analog camera, the Racer 2, I think. Not the best camera in my opinion, but the VTX is pretty good. It's a TBS Unify Pro 32 Nano, 400 milliwatts. I'm only running 100 milliwatts right now. I'm not planning to fly too far away, but pretty good reception. Yeah, these Forest 650s got a lot of cycles on them. They're already sagging out at me here on these full throttle punch outs. Getting a low battery warning. As soon as it's about 3.3 volts, I think it's sagging out to there and giving me a low voltage. So there's nothing really that's really surprising me about this at all. Just wanted to get a hold of one of these and show you what the analog flies like. Just in case some of you are thinking that the analog won't fly as good as the DJI version. To the contrary, it should fly even better, being a bit lighter. You should get more flight time, more agility. Obviously these windy conditions are terrible for something of this size. But yeah, can't do much about the weather here. Goodness. All right, one more power loop. Bring it on in here, 3.6 volts. I can usually go down to like 3.7, or I'm sorry, 3.5, but 4.5 minutes there. Should give you an idea what it's like. Yeah, field of view of this Runcam isn't as nice as the DJI camera. Let's get this to 5 minutes and then bring it on in. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments.